Hi there, Steve Holton, and I'm here back once again to talk to you about MOTIVE8. In this case, we're talking about the baseline development status. So this is where we're going to start off all future reporting from, is recognizing this point as sort of being our first status summary. This is effective as first 15th of January 2024, and hopefully we'll just be able to report it monthly at the end of each month, as opposed to doing a whole bunch of little reports throughout the year. So this is our standing agenda that I want to use for our regular reporting. I filled it out for the 15th of January to give us a baseline going forward. But then what we'll do after this is that we'll only report at the end of each month. So end of January, end of February, end of March. A little bit, it gives us regular reporting without necessarily being too much of a burden, especially for a part-time exercise like this. The components are going to be contained in there as the development dashboard, which is essentially an inventory of all the tools, techniques, and processes, and it shows their degree of progress. That'll probably convert to a heat map to make it a little bit easier to read. And then the status narrative, where we walk through, the major description of what's happened. So, what's happened in general, the project kicked off on this date, what's been accomplished, so specific items from the plan, what's in progress, same thing from the plan, what's been missed, what's targeted for the next period, and it's not just necessarily what's in the missed list. What's targeted for the next period could just say, I know we're going to bypass the stuff we missed and we'll come back to it. Certainly happens in some projects. And then any other requirements that might exist. So, we require investors, we require volunteers, we need a plan for X, Y, and Z. So we put those in, and then a conclusion if there's any final points or observations that might be necessary. So this is our development dashboard, at least the first version. What it does, it takes the major 8 tools, techniques, and processes from MOTIVE8, and then the primary use cases, supplemental tools, and then lastly, the primer parts, just to describe the book itself, which was done in 4 parts, and it contains all of these components that are to the left. What I've done is I've also put in the military terms, and then what are we calling it in the civilian side in MOTIVE8. So for instance, battle procedure becomes the action cycle, warning order becomes an activity warning. Some things don't change, like time estimate, but there's others that do, and just make it a little bit easier to understand. That said, this is a busy slide. I don't like it. What we'll do is we'll move on to the next one. So this is what the development dashboard looks like after I've removed the redundant military terminology and just focused on the civilian terms that we would use within MOTIVE8. Some remain the same, such as time estimate, but for the most part, they're all largely civilianized. And what you can see here is, looking from the color code that goes from not started to in progress to on hold, etc., and completed. The primer parts, the parts 1 through 4. Yes, I probably should have put that over here. The primer parts are all basically in progress. The specific core 8 tools, techniques, and processes, the TTPs, are all either 2/3 of them are in progress, and the last third are nominally complete. There's always one more cycle of proofreading, but they're nominally complete. And the reason for this, incidentally, is 1, I'm scatterbrained, but 2, the approach that I use is sort of a divide and conquer. I like to hit it in different parts all at once. I come back, work a little, move on to the next piece, move on to the next piece, and then do essentially progressive refinement of all of the processes. So I'll come back to them and continue to do it in a series of cycles. And I find it produces a better product in the end. I do that for my other writings as well, not just my technical writing. The primary use case, house framing, the one that's done right now, and the others are waiting on completion of some of these tools, so that we make certain that we're using the methodology correctly. Supplemental TTPs, They're coming along nicely as well. They've all been started at various points and are being integrated into the work. So similarly, in terms of the extra primer or the external to the primer materials, such as the channels, we've got the YouTube one. We've got also we're working on one on let me remember the name. Completely eludes me right now. Anyways, we've got another channel that's set up. There's a variety of pieces that are all in progress, as you can read here. Courses, nothing has been started on the courses yet. Let's get the core book done first. Workshops, a few of these workshops actually do exist because elements existed either before the creation of Motivate or were developed concurrently with it. So that at least is progressing, and those workshops could be of some value to some of the users of Motivate as they're trying to learn it and understand it, especially if they want a deep dive for their particular industry. And then lastly, the extended use cases, none of which have been started except for one, the pyrotechnics one, just because it's a personal interest of mine and was something I was working on even before I started Motivate. So now the actual meat and potatoes, the part that everyone's been excitedly waiting for, the status narrative. And I should probably extend that title and make it a little bigger. Little adjustments here and there. So what's been accomplished? So we've done the baseline for the 15th of January, as you can see that we have here, showing current progress. Preliminary orientation presentation has been completed. The development status summary template, the status report, is done. The action cycle process definition has actually been done because what happened was I started on the action cycle definition before I got to the general terminology that should have been done first, part 1 versus part 2 of the primer. It was a silly mistake, but anyways, in terms of presentations, it is done and it's ready to go. Similarly, primer part 1 general concepts has been done and is actually posted to YouTube right now. In progress. So I figured we had just a little bit too much to put in for at least this initial baseline report for in progress. You saw it on the previous 2 or 3 slides. So we can refer to that as needed. What I'll do is in future, I'll probably put down a more realistic in progress where it's just the ones that are currently being worked on within the reporting period. There's the interim development status summary report, which we have here. What on earth? Interim development status summary. I thought I finished it. Oh, we've got the baseline. I guess we're working on the summary for the end of the month. It shouldn't actually say 15th. What's been missed so far? Nothing. And then targeted for the next period, once again, the action cycle at a high level, presentation on that. The activity warning might be covered, certainly in terms of the process, maybe not the presentation. I should differentiate that as well and put in action cycle presentation. Then what we'll do is time estimate process. See, there we go. That's one that does say process, and we'll have that done. So hopefully those 3 can be completed over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Other requirements, none so far. I mean, yeah, I could probably put it in a laundry list. I could use a few more volunteers, a little board of reviewers, etc., etc. But it's a little early in the process, I think, for that. But if you want to get involved in Motivate, please reach out to me. I'd be delighted to talk to you about it and how we can have you involved. In terms of a conclusion, so the next status is 31 January, give or take a few days, and then end of month reporting only. So we'll set up a monthly cycle. So this concludes the Motivate monthly status report. Well, not our monthly status report, but our baseline status report. Once again, after this, it's only going to be the end of each month. Here are the contact details if you want to reach out to me. So you have my phone, an interim email specific to Motivate, and then the YouTube channel as well. And then there's a Rumble channel. That's the word I was trying to look for. A Rumble channel, which we also have. And we're going to try and hit a few other media sources and see if we can build up more momentum behind Motivate as it's finalized, and maybe get input of people as we adapt it as well, and civilianize battle procedure. I look forward to hearing from you, and once again, thank you for your time.